Justice for all.
Can you turn the music down, please?
Before we accept the agenda, I want to welcome back March, Max, and our new student, Alicia. Thank you both for joining us.
Woo! We're fun. Wait until your friends find out.
She's gonna have 3 years of fun.
We'll see. First item is the acceptance of the agenda. If I can get a motion.
Lori,
Second,
Mike?
any discussion?
this is called the consent agenda. Did you go over with that? Did you go over that a little bit, Jeff?
No, it's not consent.
Oh, no, never mind. It's not the consent agenda yet.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The agenda is approved. Next item is the consent agenda. Resolution number 019-2025, approving the items on the consent agenda. Mrs. Fox, would you like to explain what that is for our students?
These are typical resolutions that we have every meeting, usually hiring, some contractual things, our special education. When there's a meeting and change to the student's program, it actually is the board that approves it. So we do it all at once, rather than reading every single one and approving every single one. It's called the consent agenda because everything gets approved at one time. And any member of the board could ask for anything to be pulled off the consent agenda, and then we would talk about it individually. Hopefully, they've already emailed me before the meeting, so we could take care of that before we came through. Because sometimes there are last minute things that come up.
So, can I get a motion for the resolution, please?
Mike?
Second?
Either one.
So we'll go Mike Nancy. Any discussion on the consent agenda? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Consent agenda is approved. That leads us down to public comments. Is there any member of the public who would like to address the board? Being none, that brings us to financial reports. All board members got that ahead of time since Nikki was here, unless Mrs. Fox has anything to add.
No update, there was just one budgetary transfer, well under the limit.
So resolution number 020-2025, approving the current budgetary transfer report as presented by the school business executive. In this case, it was done by email contact. Motion, please.
Mike?
Second.
Lori,
Any discussion on this? All in favor? Any opposed? Resolution is approved. Brings us to old business, item A, capital project update, Mrs. Fox.
so we're moving along, we're almost done at Patilda. I think they need one more day for some balancing work that they're doing over there with all of the new events. We actually were working on the dates today. It'll be the 21st, 22nd, or 23rd, whichever the contractor chooses to be second shift, so it should not interrupt our day. And that building is really complete. We are continuing our work on the track. We were able to have our games Thursday and Friday. It was a lot of fun. This was a hopping place. You can hear that people are out there right now. We saw that the sod was delivered. They're working on cleaning up around all the way around the track area and cleaning that all up. We do have a couple of things still in play. I'm still working on some sidewalks. We noticed that right from Thursday night that people are now parking on either side of the gate. So we need some sidewalks to get them around the gate so they get to the other side without wandering through the mud, or to help funnel them here to door 4 to the bathrooms. So those are coming. We had talked about possibly retopping or actually taking out and redoing the tennis court because of all the work that's been on it, all the heavy equipment, all the staging. But actually, the tennis court held up pretty well, but it's not really usable as a tennis court. It still has a lot of cracking in it. So we're talking about perhaps doing a 1-inch top coat on that. It would make a good base if we just did a top coat, and the elevation that we thought we would have, the elevation difference between where the walkout is for the track and field and the risers is actually not much of a problem now. Towards the track itself, it has more elevation, but as you move forward towards the parking area, it almost becomes level. So it would meet ADA, any kind of ADA compliance that we needed. and would be significantly less expensive and keep that a usable spot. So we're still working through that.
That's the first I heard of that. That's a good
Yeah.
plan because to pull all that out and regrade,
Yes.
so that would be
Yeah.
cost savings and give us an effect on the lot.
Right.
I'm still planning on the anchors on closest to the track.
We're looking at our pricing and seeing what we've got. We had a big meeting last week on budget. And so we're just confirming our budget numbers. We are still well under budget. Wow, it's a big project. So wow, it's a couple $100,000+ under budget still. But because of the way that we voted on it with the turf project as one project and the stadium seating as a second project, we have to keep that money separated. And not all of our subcontractors have done a good job of that. So we're still working our way through as to what our money really is for each of the two projects. And then we'll go from there. We'll see what we've got and we'll move from there. But
Is the plan to recode that this fall?
yes, yes.
Would that be, so this, the old tennis court, would it be striped for a tennis court or would it be striped for the pickle?
We would probably stripe it for pickleball and put a couple of four squares and perhaps a couple of shuffleboards. We could paint it up however we
Yeah.
wanted. It really was PE that asked for us to give it back to them, so they had a spot for students.
Yeah.
So it would double the number, if we make it a tennis court, there's only so many kids who can play tennis at a time. If we made it pickleball, double, we have at least 2 pickleball courts, double the number of kids that could actually do pickleball.
It's more than that because you then have the other area that could be shuffleboard. or-
Correct, that's right. I mean, we could really, so we're all in talks about that. Tim is coming tomorrow, to take a look at all of these pieces. The track is being redone, as you can see right now. They've taken out a spot in the track, a pretty big spot where the pump was formed when they drove the electric underneath. But when they did the work to spray it down and then put the top coat back on, they actually created another spot that was now not level. So they're back in to fix it. The plan is that they will fix it Monday. They should be striping it Monday into Tuesday. And the agreement is it goes back to a 5-year warranty. And they will be back next year after track season to reevaluate the track. And if we continue to have problems, the next step is to take it right down and start again. So
Yes,
to the asphalt. Yeah, take it down to the asphalt and start again with a rubber layer and all those pieces. Under warranty, correct. This would all be under warranty. So that's a bit of that's a conversation we're having now is what that letter will look like moving forward. It's not finalized, but yes, it would all be warranty work.
And the track isn't really used.
Right now, we're okay. The biggest problem we have is that we have people who want to cross it for games and practices, and they won't be able to cross it on Monday night because of the wet surface for the painting of the track. Yes.
Diane, to go back to the tennis court,
Yes.
so that would be, if you say ADA accessible, do we need to do anything to make that another, just a more outdoor, maybe accessible?
Yeah, it should be fine because right now, if you just take a look at it, you'll see there's the tennis courts are here and the walk off and walk on for the field is over here. And there's a little spot between the two that's left as grass. I said, that will be mud because we will never have people who don't walk on that, right? Like everybody will walk on that. So we would top that anyways, even if we can't afford to top the tennis court, we would still top that little strip because there will never be a blade of grass that grows there. Yes. And if you look at this end, and that's why Tim's coming, is Tim will help us to make sure that we have access that's ADA accessible. But
It just makes it nice for another experience.
correct. So right now, the way it's looking, we think it's almost exactly even.
Well, and if we do that, when we do the concession stuff over there,
Right.
people are gonna be walking through there constantly anyway,
Absolutely.
so instead of
Absolutely.
tracking mud and grass everywhere
Yeah.
else, then
Yeah.
smart that, but I would
I
say.
think so too. But all in all, we had hundreds of people here on Friday night. We had a really good turnout for girls soccer in the pouring rain. It rained before, during, after, and of course it was double overtime, but people stuck it out. It was actually a lot of fun. And then Friday night was great, the weather was great. We had some neighbors who thought we were a little loud. We were a little loud. This is, well, there's a story to everything. So we were loud because we did not get access to the sound system until the 28th. And they trained us in the morning. And then we actually had somebody here who was playing with it about 8 o'clock at night, and we received complaints. So Forrest and I were texting, we're like, shut it down, we don't want to have complaints. And then we couldn't really get to it sometimes because they were still doing the tarmac work out there. So, and sound travels differently at 2 in the afternoon than it does at 8, 9 o'clock at night. And so really we didn't have a chance to use it until it was pouring on us Thursday night. So Friday was kind of let's see what we got. We will get better at it. But, some new people will be hearing it, just like some of us hear other things that are going on in the village, but we will adjust the sound accordingly. But we've got to, it is not a push and play. It's not like your CD player where you push play and turn the volume. There's a lot to it. Getting the PA to work with the music, with all the pieces. This is high-tech stuff, and we're going to need a little time to figure it all out. But
I appreciated the volume of it when it was pouring.
yes.
And they were able to make an announcement that there was a lightning delay, and everybody cleared the stands, everybody got to shelter and did all that, and then they were able to call everybody back, and it was loud enough, everybody could hear, like sitting in the car, and I felt like safety-wise, it was a good thing
useful.
too, like
Yes.
not just spirit-wise.
You didn't need to hear Thunderstruck, I Don't Like Colby, or there's a learning curve.
Yes, there is a little.
One of the things I think that the Thursday and Friday really illustrated, if that were a grass field with the rain we got Thursday night, there'd be no games Friday, and the field, if you played on it Thursday in the rain, you would have been behind schedule for that facility for the whole fall. So the real advantage of having the turf and the drainage and all that was crystal clear in 2 days of why that allows us to get much more play time. Because it came down hard.
Oh,
in that game.
it did.
My umbrella leaked. It did. All of a sudden I could feel the stuff on my head. It was my umbrella leaking.
So, it was, Friday's weather was much better,
Yeah.
but the field wouldn't have been.
Right. Well, it went into overtime, right? We had an
Yes.
extra 20 minutes of play after that. Play.
So it's just, grass fields just can't stand up to that kind of play. And at the higher levels, when they wreck their field, they just pay someone to come in and take it out, roll the grass out. That's probably not in our budget. So anything else on the capital?
That's it?
Okay, perfect. So next is kind of a standing item we're going to have for this year, which is the district facilities planning committee. Diane, you want to speak on that?
So I believe you've reached out to all of our members.
I've reached out to the kind of ad hoc members.
Yes.
And either spoke to them on the phone or met with them personally. We will meet on the 17th.
Are we meeting at normal time, 5:30?
Right here,
Okay.
5:30.
Diane and Gina and I will meet tomorrow just about logistics for the meeting. You can expect at the first meeting that we will, confirm the dates if people have those. Gina's working on an email list, group list. What am I missing here? One of the things that I told all the people that I met with or spoke to is that a goal of the first meeting would be to throw out topics because we plan to run this committee as a topic committee for Josh's great suggestion. And so we'll have discussions about topics. I've encouraged these members that I've met with that they can represent all the constituents they want. If people can ask them questions. They can be a conduit for concerns. That the more voices we have in terms of solutions, the better we are. I was asked, is the public allowed? The public is allowed. We're probably not going to be broadcasting these. We'll be taking minutes. We'll set up a little differently. We probably want a U-shape here. because as a committee, we need to face each other. So if you do come to the meetings, you might be looking at some backs, but um, it will not be a public comment session during these meetings. But we will be having some public forums. We may potentially meet some other locations. That'll all be decided by our committee as we get going. And I've pledged to everybody that we will try to use their time as efficiently as possible. And as we roll through topics, as we complete, it's my goal not to keep coming back and treading over ground all and over. That's why I want to get the topics solidified and move forward, tie it all together at the end. I was asked, what is the charge of the committee? And the charge of the committee is best summed up as advisory. Look at as many things as we can, things that we've already discussed as a board, and things that maybe we haven't discussed. But at the end, we want to be able to provide the board with, this is what we've heard, here's what we think. And I've made them aware, because the question was asked, who makes the last decision? And it's a this level discussion decision. But I didn't say as a board, we have talked about the full confidence in the makeup of the committee, and that, barring on some crazy thing, the board seems pretty content and happy with the process thus far.
I would really like our second meeting to be at the, so that we can sort of build it and actually know exactly what the process is.
So as we work through that at the first meeting, that's something you should bring up and say why. And Gina is working on putting together binders for every committee member that include all the statistical data that we've accumulated that relate to this. Now, we have that, but we'll get it again in this format. And the real plus of that is people that are joining us that have never seen that, not that they could because it's public, they will have all that in front of them as all of us will. So when we're talking about numbers, they'll have it.
Mark the study too.
Yes.
Yeah, that right.
Everything.
Everything that we
Perfect.
have. And then as we go through, if someone says, hey, do we have this? Yeah, we do. We'll give it to you. There may be stuff that we just haven't thought of. We probably don't have time to commission new studies. But, and we will recognize, and Diana, I know, will do a great job with this, things that were in the study that didn't project to be quite accurate because we lived that firsthand. That'll be brought out. I share with Diane, I'm sure there's going to be questions by people in the committee about what does this cost? What does that cost? And so as people think, we're not at that yet, but this is on my mind, they should let someone know, me, anyone on the committee, or Diane, so that we're not trying to get something together in 10 minutes. But if we think in meeting 5, we're going to talk transportation, we might want to know what we spend on transportation, where we see potential savings. If we need Dave to come in, we don't want to give Dave 24 hours notice to come in and do those things. So that's kind of what I have in my mind in terms of organization and flow. And I've been asked, well, what's the timeline? When we hope it's wrapped up? I said the board would like to have this wrapped up as early in the spring, but no later than when we can take action if need be for next fall. And people on the committee will need to get from the school side, this is when we need to know these kinds of things to implement those. We don't meet that deadline, it doesn't get implemented because of this. I think a lot of people think that in August we said, we're doing this. And everybody here will say, no, that can't happen. Because there's a lot of ripples that occur. So everybody that I've spoken to that we've invited on board is pretty happy to be there. And again, I've encouraged them, you reach out to your constituents with as much information as you can and bring as much as you can. Because the more people that have input, even though it might be secondary input, the better the plan we'll have. And I'm very adamant about this. When we get to, if it's June and we get to June and the choice has been made and the board said, we like it, we're moving forward, we now have a plan and some goals for the next 10 years or whatever it may be. People that come on board afterwards that are criticizing or upset that didn't partake in the process, I'm going to be blunt. I don't have any time for that. Because a lot of people are going to work hard on this. And if you want your voice heard, there's lots of opportunities. Get in and be heard. So that might be a little rude for me to say that, but if I don't say it, and then I say it at the end, I don't get to say I said it, right? So anyone that's out there listening, by all means, get to us what you want us to know. All right, so anything else on that for you? So we're here next Wednesday, and we'll get started on that. This will be on there, and we plan to update the board as a whole at board meetings about our meetings. I'll try not to give you a 100% blow down of everything, because then it takes about too much of my time. But our minutes are going to be public minutes. I don't know if we talked about this, Gina, but we will likely put our minutes somewhere where they're publicly accessible. So
Yeah,
maybe
we put it
they-
right on the board,
the board side.
Yeah.
Perfect. So people can read our minutes.
On the board side, but also it might be, I mean, I'll be at the meetings, but for other board members, it could be helpful to have it printed and put in their packet and
Sure.
just,
Yeah, each
So I
time.
can keep their own binder.
well, I don't know, just so
So
that,
we don't do our BOE minutes that way, but for this committee, every meeting we should have the minutes.
okay, or put in the, on the site, in the board of, that meeting's,
Yeah.
Google.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I'll make a note.
because we have so many people that may not have the easiest access to that, I think what makes some sense, Nancy, is that when you come to the next meeting, you have an agenda and the previous meeting's minutes.
Okay.
Because we're talking not that many people, and then they don't have to hunt for it. Now, the minutes will also be electronically posted, so if you want to look at it, then you can.
I
No, I
was
think
more
Nancy's-
thinking of board members.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Nancy's saying
Oh,
she
other board
wants,
members
Yeah,
have
the other
she
two board
wants
members.
a printed
I see.
copy and back of the agenda.
That's fine,
Okay.
I'm good with that.
Just so it's easy to read, because I mean, clearly it's easy to read.
So you got two places.
Yeah.
Okay, good enough. So, I don't think excited is the word I would use, because this should be a lot of tough work here, but I think people are motivated to do it. And I'll say again, I said this at the last meeting, some people weren't there. Any board members that are not on that committee that have questions, concerns, want to add, reach out to one of us from the board that are on the committee. We'd love to represent things for you as well. You don't have to wait to June to weigh in. So if you look on the drive and you see something and you're not sure, call somebody and say, hey, I don't know what this is. So I don't think we could at least begin with any more of an open approach than what we are. Any admin want to weigh in? Yeah. All right, moving on to new business. Item A is review of NISBA proposed resolutions, and we'll turn that over to Tori.
So the proposed resolutions for this year's annual business meeting came out on that date, which was the Monday. And I will be sharing them with everybody. Gina is gonna help me work on a spreadsheet so that to make voting on them easier. We will be voting on them at the next meeting. So that gives you 2 weeks. There are not as many as usual. I think there were 36 pretty serious ones. Please do not forget the ones in the back. They're broken down into sunsetting resolutions that are supposed to expire at the end of the business year and the end of the fiscal year. And then there's the ones that the NISBA Resolutions Committee has reviewed and is recommending. And then at the end is the resolutions that the committee is not recommending. That is the long haul part. They tend to get a little confusing sometimes how they're written. If you have any questions, let me know, because we are having some meetings in the next 2 weeks with NISBA, with our NISBA advocacy rep at NISBA to go over some of the details, but there were questions. So don't hesitate to give me a call on those. For our EOs, the whole purpose of the business meeting, other than a new president for NISBA, which is the New York State Association of School Boards, it basically sets the marching orders for NISBA on what are the priorities of all the school boards in the state. In the past, we really haven't participated a whole lot, and it's really pressed for us to participate because the big areas, the big 5 school districts, New York City, Syracuse, Buffalo, all those big places, they not only have local school boards, they have regional school board associations, and then they have even larger. So a Long Island School District, for example, a friend of mine on a district down in Patchmahoe, she's actually represented 4 different times. The rural schools really need to work together. And so we're really been working to get more rural schools to participate. It's a long meeting. The shortest I've been to is 6 hours. 2 years ago it was 12 hours. I think our goal is back to 6 hours this year. But it really, NYSBA does a lot of good work for us. And the other thing is that they're a place for questions. And one of the things that Josh and I have talked about is there is a meeting next week. We would like to get the kids in on. That is kind of a greeting and a hello to all of the state. I'm forgetting what EO stands for exactly. The ex officio. So for our student board members, one is to see what the state's expectations are. We're very lucky in that this is a program that we've had for a long time, but a lot of districts are just starting because it's now state mandated. So one is, what is the state expecting of you guys? And also showing you what NYSBA has to offer you guys. Like if you have questions, there's actually places that you can call. And they're gonna let you know a little bit about how to hook up with other school board kids from other school boards in the state. So it's kind of neat.
Okay, perfect. Item B, selection of the NYSBA voting delegate. Resolution number 021-2025 will be appointing a member of our board as the NYSBA voting delegate for the 25-26 school year. So let's get this on the table, and then we'll see if we can convince somebody to do it. Can I get a motion, please?
Like,
Second?
Yes.
Okay, so we need to, what's the best term? Convince somebody to continue to be our voting member. I would nominate Tori.
If there's anybody else that would like to do it, I am more than willing to give it up.
I know you are, but you are, I tell you this every time. You do such a great job. You are really,
I'm the only sucker that does it.
well,
That's kind of our,
you may put it that way. I've been pretty open. That's really not my forte is to go and rub elbows with Albany, but you have a natural ability to do it. You keep us well informed. I think our district has benefited greatly from your ability to represent us. I think you've motivated some other rural districts, and the information you bring back is great. So would anyone like to second my nomination, Tori?
I will.
All those in favor of Tori as our voting delegate? Aye.
is she willing to accept it again?
Yeah.
Mike, you don't ask that question.
Just
There's
approve
vote.
her in. Just put her in.
Any opposed? The vote carries.
Congratulations.
Thank you,
thank
Tori.
you.
Thank you, Tori.
Thank you.
So, having Tori as our voting delegate, I'll speak on her behalf. When you get those proposals, please do them and get them back to her, because she wants to report on them. And if you don't do it, especially our members that aren't here tonight, it needs to be done, because that's what she uses when she votes.
That's good. What, is that like you last year, you did a spreadsheet?
Gina's gonna help me
Can
with
help you
that.
with that, okay.
And what we'll do is we'll go through them, but it's much easier if we don't have to read them all. If we can agree that if we can vote that everybody's read them. Some other districts actually have a voting delegate and then all of their board meets with them and sits with them for the entire meeting.
What are you serving?
I can be convinced to serve if anyone is interested. But then they can have discussion, because one of the things that does happen is the reason the meeting is so long is there is a lot of debate.
So what it seemed to me is that all the ones that are unanimous, we don't need to talk about. If there is a vote that isn't unanimous, perhaps we should discuss it.
Yeah, that makes it perfect sense.
So we could cut down
A lot
on,
of times it's just clarification, like,
And if there's,
Sometimes I'm reading it going, all right, I've read that 4 times, it's still again.
and those, because
Need help, right?
they've helped us a lot with those, like, don't hesitate to reach out. But the key to that working is everybody reading them.
And this is what it looks like when you get it.
Right.
Yeah, you gotta read it before you
You should have already
come.
received it, correct? I
I'm
received
gonna do it,
mine.
I'm gonna do it tomorrow morning.
Oh!
I apologize.
Oh, Merry Christmas, everyone.
I am a little behind because my extra.
You need to read it before you come in to vote.
Yes, that's the main thing, is that it does take time. Don't hesitate to ask, because some of them, because I've done it for this is the 3rd year. I know kind of the backstory of what they're aiming at.
Good.
Especially as we get to kind of the second half. There's a lot of backstory with some of them,
Okay.
why they're written the way they are, so.
I love the background music.
I know, it's a little weird.
Really hard.
Hey, turn that up! Item C, federal advocacy update. Terry?
Okay, so the federal advocacy update, I'm gonna tie with, Congressional Minority Leader King Jeffries, who, invited us to, I was asked to be in on a meeting. Congressman Jeffries is pretty amazing in that he is from, I'm gonna say Brooklyn and it's the Bronx, or it's vice versa, please forgive me. But he is one of the only members that will meet with people from the whole, if somebody wants to meet with his office, he will meet. The office is taking very seriously impending changes. The biggest thing they need, and the office is gonna keep asking every time we talk to them, for stories. As cuts happen, as things change, they are looking for specific stories. They're stuck in the bubble of DC. They have their view of everything, and they have numbers, and they have, discussion. They need to know about kids and families and those kinds of things. And it gives them a little more impetus when they talk to to the rest of Congress and in DC in general. And the fact that they are willing to talk to us and they are just as concerned about the rural districts. They were acutely aware how the rural districts are probably going to fare worse than the larger districts, the larger, more urban districts. So even though we're so far away, they really want to hear from us, and that's going to fluctuate us a lot as administrators. Families, stories, anything you can come up with. And then if you all have questions, if the board and if you have questions, they have said the same thing. Reach out. How is this going to affect us? How is that going to affect us? They want to help us. If they can't help us, I had a question and they actually sent me to another resource who actually picked up the phone and answered my questions. And it's really nice to see someone who's so high up actually know where Saranac Lake is. Generally, the push right now is to get through the resolutions, get through the business meeting, and start fresh for the new year. And then the last thing, you ready? Okay, so I got to go to the NISBO Superintendent Evaluation webinar, and I went originally as we are starting the search for Diana's replacement, kind of looking for what questions should we be asking, because none of us have done this before, and things have changed so much in the last 10 years as far as superintendents go. What questions should we be asking? The evaluation, the superintendent evaluation instrument, it's what they call, is supposed to be on our website by a certain date in September for every school district across the state. And we were kind of asking, we all had the question is, do they use NISBA? Is NISBA, I don't remember the exact, NISBA is the Superintendent Association. So less than 10% of school boards use their own instrument for evaluation. 90% use either NISCUS or NISBA's evaluation instrument. It was kind of 50-50. They said that number fluctuates year to year, but they're pretty similar. They did talk about the super eval, which is a company, but they also talked about a lot about the instrument itself. And it's actually really interesting. As we go into the superintendent search, it talks about a lot of goal setting in the summer, so that the board and the superintendent are working together long term. And then it actually establishes a check-in in the winter. Mark is we've talked a lot about setting up our calendar so that we're reminded of stuff regularly, and it was actually pretty interesting. Tomorrow I will make available, we are allowed to share for 30 days our the webinar. So you can actually look at the webinar itself or skim through it, and I'll share the slides as well. It was pretty interesting, just the idea of having it, how they establish the timeline for the whole year and working together, especially as we start with a new superintendent. Right now, the superintendents are, the average is 3 years, they told us. Does that sound about right? We've had the luxury of having a superintendent for quite a while. I've spoken with a couple other districts that have used both NISCUS and NISBA's instrument, and they both said either way, it helps establish the timeline for the year, and set some good goal setting so that we actually get good information out of it. It's not just about test scores and numbers, which a lot of times we don't have a lot of control over. So I will share that as well tomorrow. And that's it. And I'll leave it.
Keep in mind with that instrument, that's subject to negotiation with the candidate.
That's exactly it, and that's why I wanted to take it ahead of time and quiet. I really would like everybody to look at least look at the slides and look at the instrument. If only so we get kind of an idea, when we do come down to negotiations, what do we want? What are we asking for, rather than being in the situation of we don't know what we want.
Right.
And it's too late to kind of research that.
Makes perfect sense.
And his name is David, but I can't guarantee that. He is an NISBA advocate, and he is available anytime. So if you have questions about it, or he said, when I said that we were starting a new search, he said that was actually a pretty good place to start. But don't hesitate if you come up with questions. His name is in the slides, and if you want to let me know, and I'll reach out to him. They want to make it easier, and I think the more formal ones. And that's it. I'll give you a little minute. So
Thank you.
You'll share the link. How long was the webinar, like an hour?
No, it was 4 hours.
Oh.
There's definitely, because there's several sections, and it really goes into how to set up your goals so that they are
Smart goals.
they're smart goals, and they're easily, they're not subjective, they're objective, and that's the part I can't explain very well, but it made a lot of sense. I like how they set it forth. So, but the slides actually are really good representations. If you don't have time to watch.
Right, you'll share those things.
Yeah, I'll share them all tomorrow. I apologize.
Well, we're starting way in advance.
Yes.
We're starting way in advance when we actually need them.
That's
So
it.
that's good.
That's it. The video itself is available for 30 to 45 days. They don't usually do this, but because it's a lot for us to share here. And that way if people want to see it.
Perfect. Okay, moving on to reports, superintendent report.
Well, we have started the 25-26 school year. We had a very good first 2 days of professional development and just time together. I think as an administrative team, we kind of figured out the secret sauce of allowing our staff the opportunity to come back into the buildings, to see each other in the morning, do some building work, and then we come together for our our district-wide meeting on the afternoon of the first day. We had Dr. Joe with us, who did a really nice job talking about how any one of us, regardless of your title or where you work or what you do, has the opportunity to touch students and make a difference, and really encouraged our non-instructional staff and people that sometimes get left in the wings on these professional development days, really put them front and center for that Monday afternoon. Tuesday morning, Dr. Joe with us was with just our instructional staff. And then that was followed by, it's interesting because we had some feedback. We had our administrative team meeting yesterday. So we had the opportunity for our classroom teachers who work with other paraprofessionals that push into their classroom. Opportunity with some guiding questions to sort of set the stage of the expectations of the work and working together through the school year. And I wasn't sure we were ever going to get off the ground. There were 1,000 questions by everybody. Am I right? There were 1,000 questions by everybody in the audience. And then finally Melissa said, okay, just go find your people, make it happen. And yet what we really found for some feedback after, we'll see how this went, but actually the feedback around the table, it really did lead to some conversations and put people in a better spot than the normal first few days of the school year when they're kind of figuring each other out. They'd already spent some time on that and were able to quickly jump in. So really a very nice first 2 days. Our kids came back. It's been great to have everybody back. We're sailing. So I'm sure that our group here will talk about their first days back. I won't rain on their parade, but glad to be up and going. It's been a good transition into the new school year.
Okay, thank you. Now our administrators, Katie.
Yep, we had our open house. It was really successful. We only had 4 students not attend. So all of the families came out and it was just a really nice event. Friday, we had our a second day of school, had our PBIS behavioral training. That was successful in our first big red assembly. So we had to really revamp what the assemblies look like at Bloomingdale because our oldest client is now 7 or 8 years old. And so the attention span is just a little different. We only had 1 kindergartner cry because Big Red came and the beak, but only 1. So I thought that was pretty successful. 1
It's all
crier.
Justin's fault.
Yeah, 1 beak. This week we also started some beginning of the year assessments, Fastbridge for K through 2, and then the dial for our UPK students. And so I was working with our UPK students today, and I was telling Erica, it really comes to light when you see their chronological age, and she was 3 years, 9 months. And I was like, they're babies. So they're really doing a nice job. It's only day 5. Sometimes we forget that and we think it's day 50, but it's really day 5. So we're doing well. Next Monday, our 21st century programming begins for quarter 1. We currently have 32 K through 12 programming programs running. Eric and I both know 32. And we have lots of happy students who are going to be joining those programs on Monday. So, and our first joint elementary movie night will be September 17th at Bloomingdale for both schools. And we're going to be alternating venues back and forth between the 2 schools, except for October 3rd, which will be at the high school sports complex. So we're really excited about that. So that's it.
Thank you, Erica.
Well, I like to play the game of what will Mrs. Fox be doing on Saturday. And
That's a
Mrs.
fun
Fox
game.
on Saturday will be rappelling from 34 Flynn Ave in Plattsburgh, which is a high-rise tower, through through the United.
What is she doing on
Are you,
Sunday?
what are you doing on Friday? That's the question.
Who are you anyway?
Yeah, I did get a phone call when I sent her the waiver, but
From Greg?
no. So the United
I
Way.
thought I was chaperoning. Didn't realize I was.
Surprise.
I love zip lining. This is a little different.
Yeah.
It's just a zip line going the other way.
It's like a zip line.
Just straight down.
It's called a drop.
Different on the zip line.
So the
You
United,
should go too.
we're going. I'm
Yes,
going.
she's gonna do it.
The United Way has offered us 4 students, and the two of us are going to be rappelling down this high-rise building. They did a very large campaign, and one of their donors is not taking their spots, and so we do a lot of work with the United Way, so they called and asked if we would like to bring students. Mr. Dan helped us find just right kids who are going, and one of the young people was in the boardroom today at a meeting, and she was like, I can't wait. I cannot wait. So they're thrilled. We can wait, but it's gonna be great.
Is lunch after or before?
Definitely after.
And will there be video?
How's it?
Yes,
That's a great.
video,
evidence on that.
video, pictures, the whole deal.
We want a video of
Yeah, I think
our
that
superintendent.
on the jumbotron
Jumping in.
at halftime.
Prior to
Uh-huh.
the six,
Yeah.
That's our next commercial, Diane.
Yeah, soaring for the wind.
That's right.
So the other exciting thing is that Redia Espada is joining our 21st century team. We are thrilled to have her jump in both feet, and we are grateful to Kara for her willingness to help us make this transition smooth for everyone. But we can't wait to see everybody at our 21st century events. We have some awesome things up our sleeves that we can't wait to roll out.
Thank you. Is that it?
That's enough.
Brian?
Just to echo what Diane said and Katie, really smooth start to the school year. I always say we have to get through the first cycle, which is tomorrow. So tomorrow's an F day, just to make sure everything's functioning the way it should and schedules are lining up. So it's been a great start to the school year. Knock on wood, probably one of my smoothest in 11 openings of a school year. Kids are getting used to the routines and the schedules and procedures. You would never know that we have 50 plus new students at Petrova. You know, the first morning, I'm out there for morning recess while kids are going into breakfast, and you know the new students, not just Bloomingdale, but any brand new students, including some of the Bloomingdale students, they were kind of hanging with who they knew and you know who their buddies were. But by day 4 and 5, when you look out there, you would never know that there was, you know, 2 schools that came together. You know it in the cafeteria, just by the sheer numbers, which we had to get really creative on how we scheduled lunch and recess. They don't have a whole lot of time to eat, so trying to get all those kiddos through the lunch line in the same amount of time we've always had. It's been a work in progress, but today was, like I said, day 5, and the last kid going through the line still had 15, 20 minutes to eat. So, whereas it wasn't like that the first day. You know, they don't know their number they put in, and they don't know where to sit, and the kindergartners are looking around like, where am I? So yeah, great start. We also started our FastBridge benchmark testing yesterday. Big chunk of that is already done. Teachers will start doing their students 3 through 5 this week and into next week. And Mark, you'll appreciate this. We pulled out of the archives for our behavioral expectations training. In the past, we've had rotation set up in the building, 5 or 6 minutes, and then you move to the next rotation. It could be bathroom training, hallway, cafeteria, bus. And we just didn't seem to get much out of it because there was more transitioning from one station to the next. By the time they got to the next station, the kids were like, what are we talking about? And then it was time to go. So we pulled out the Josh Thanks 2012 videos that Ryan Farmer made that did exactly that. They made videos of the students, how to walk in the hallway, how to use the bathroom, how to playground and bus, all these different areas in the building. I had to preface it though with the kids before I showed it, because there was a couple things in there they'd be like, what is that? Like a handle on the flusher?
On the toilet?
In the old days, you had to flush for yourself.
So there was really none of those left. And then the other one was the computer lab.
Oh.
A lot of the kids would look at it and go, what is that thing? It's this great big screen, and, which is obviously now a Chromebook.
Was it on VHS you played this or?
No, it's right on it's on YouTube.
Yep.
Yep. So just great videos, and we did that in the auditorium and had conversations afterward. Yeah, great start.
Okay, thank you.
That's all I have.
Josh?
The kids in the video are now 24, so that was interesting to look at. Again, just to echo what everybody has said, our freshmen have settled in nicely. We have freshman class elections next week. We already started planning homecoming. Student council met today and yesterday. Things seem to be moving pretty rapidly. Our senior class has had themes for every home game. We have a senior sunrise on Friday that they have planned. They seem to be really taking advantage of all of their opportunities and creating some good memories. We had an August graduate that we celebrated today, a student that moved to our district as a sophomore and struggled, and today we get to celebrate his graduation, and it was pretty awesome. So
He was the dad and Sam.
yes, he was all the above. I'm also excited to have 3 new board members, reps. We had a lot of people that put their name in the hat, answering some questions, and so Max and I looked through the questions and the answers and made some decisions. So we're excited about that. We met a couple of days ago and kind of established the calendar. So
What's the third member?
so we have Elliot Strack, and then we have Sierra with a C, Rivers. So we have two 10th graders and 2 11th graders. And so they were excited and eager to jump in the ring. Just 2 new things that I want to just talk about that I'm pretty excited about. This year we have senior couriers. So our senior couriers will work in the office, all the offices, and try to eliminate more announcements because nobody listens to the announcements. So the senior couriers will do a lot of the running around, getting kids in non-confidential situations, run errands, do things for the office. And so we had over 15 students that nominated themselves to do that. So we're going to train them tomorrow, and then Monday they'll start working in the office. We have at least 2 or 3 per period. So that's kind of excited. And then we're also working on having video announcements in the morning. They'll be live. We have 8 students that are in the class, and then we have 5 students that have been that have volunteered to be the video people on the screen. So kids are excited. We're going to be doing some interviews and using our home games as videos on the announcements. We just felt like visually is better for our students. So those 2 things are in progress.
Student report?
So fall sports are well underway. We've had multiple games from different teams, and I've heard a lot of talk about like the new turf field and how much people are liking it, and it's a lot better than the old grass. And I think that's all I really have to say.
Okay, so we just had the club fair. It turned out very well. A lot of people signed up for a bunch of new clubs and multiple clubs. So that was well. And opening day, it was good. People liked it. We had a assembly, and we did a game of Family Feud, and people enjoyed that.
And we learned that Mr. Benware does not watch enough old TV reruns because he wasn't sure of the rules.
Mr. Phil had to correct
it.
Oh, this is more famous.
So I did encourage.
What? Family Feud? I mean,
No,
it's
Mr.
classic.
Benware.
Thank you.
Right.
Nancy?
Nothing to report.
Tori?
I already gave you enough.
Mike?
Nothing to report other than the field's great. First day of school was great. Happy to have so many Saranac Lake kids in BOCES. Fantastic.
And I'm good as well. We are in need of an executive session for 3 items: discussion regarding proposed pending or current litigation, collective negotiations pursuant to Article 14 of the Civil Service Law, and the medical financial credit or employment history of a particular person or corporation for matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person or corporation. So can I get a motion to adjourn to executive session.
Yes.
Mike,
Second is Mike. All those in favor?
all right.
Aye. Any opposed? To carry. We're at 6:25. So we are currently adjourned. We'll take a short break for executive session. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Alicia, all meetings will be under an hour this one.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Can you meet me at some point?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but email me. I have the 17th on my calendar, so I'll let them know. And